Keep in mind that the information that we share with you on our episodes is general in nature only. George and I come up with different scenarios and different hypotheticals that we take from our experience, and we share them with you so that you can gain knowledge generally as to your rights. But it's not legal advice. The only way you get legal advice is to call the injury helpline at 844-984-8414 and request a free consultation. George and I will come to the phone. We'll listen to the facts and circumstances of your case, and then we'll give you the feedback that will be legal advice, that will help you understand the specific facts and circumstances of your case with the lawyer. So with that said, episode number 27 of the Inland Empire Workers' Compensation Lawyer Livestream podcast, broadcasting live every Sunday at 3 p.m., discussing a new topic in workers' compensation law and employment rights. My name is Attorney Alexander Napolin. I'm joined today by Attorney George Abuado to discuss nighttime agricultural operations and the safety features that must be put in place for these employees and what your rights are if you are working agriculture at night. There's a lot of agricultural workers in the state of California. There's certain safety protocols that employers must engage in to keep you safe, and that's what we're discussing, episode number 27. George, what kind of safety concerns do agricultural workers at night have, and what types of laws have been put in place to help them?
Well, agricultural workers at nighttime, they face different risks and maybe added risks than most workers, right? Because, of course, they're going to be doing the same type of duties that you might do during the day, and those are actually different risks, right? You're out in the sun, heat stroke, a lot of things could happen. But at nighttime, the reduced visibility is one of the biggest dangers that they face. They're out there working, out in the open. They can't see. They have to perform their task, and maybe they can't perform it how they should because there's not maybe enough light, or the employer has not provided them with the correct tools to do their job. And because of that, they might become injured. I've had a lot of clients that stepped into a hole, sprained an ankle, maybe fell off a certain ravine/cliff, not so high, not like the one you're managing, but still causes damage, right? Roll down a little hill and you could cause a lot of damage.
While working
at night. So there has to be protocols in place to help prevent that, right? And so that's what we're going to talk about today. What are the dangers that they could face, and what does OSHA, for one, do to prevent these type of things? There's laws that the employer has to adhere to for these specific employees that have been put in place in order to keep them a little bit safer. And once again, these types of situations and maybe dangerous situations are exacerbated if you're driving a vehicle or maybe operating heavy machinery in the nighttime.
Right. So if you can't see very well, the likelihood that you're going to be hurt on the job site or while you're working is extremely high. And if you do engage in this type of work and you come into a hazard, like you fall, and you still can't see where you're going to tumble to in order to break your fall, you're going to get really hurt.
Yeah.
And so the CalOSHA, which stands for Occupational Safety and Health Administration, has specific rules that employers who employ agricultural workers at night must follow.
There's two CalOSHA policies that help with this. It's Title 8 regulations. There's Article 3449. This establishes requisites for preventing the exposure of employees to dangers during agricultural operations during the nighttime. And we'll talk about those. There's actually certain things that the employers have to do before each shift. So that's really important, okay? The Article 3441, which is the second one, is that they have very strict policies regarding headlights on trucks. So, if you don't have the correct headlights, or maybe if one is out or one is broken, that's a violation of the OSHA policies regarding nighttime work for agricultural employees. Now, what type of employers must comply with these regulations? It's employers that have workers that work during the hours of dusk till dawn. So from when the sun sets to when the sun rises, workers that work between these hours, those are in agricultural environments, those are the ones that qualify for these type of regulations. Also, employers that use tractors, trucks, or agricultural equipment that is propelled, so that, motor vehicles that are trucks,
definitely.
agricultural equipment that you have to move around, that type of stuff. Obviously, you can't operate that under the influence, right? Even some medications say, please don't operate heavy machinery. Well, when you're doing that at nighttime, it's even more dangerous. So these type of vehicles need headlights and specific headlights in order to shine light so that people know that they're coming. Imagine you have a truck driver that's maybe trucking back and forth, let's say watermelons or melons.
Right.
And if they don't have the correct headlights and there's workers walking around picking these watermelons,
Someone's going to get hit.
Someone's going to get hit. And then go back to our videos. Now we're looking at possibly serious and willful on top of the workers' compensation claim.
Yeah, go and check out our video on the Cal OSHA and how that can lead to a serious and willful violation. If you're an employee, if you're an agricultural worker who has been in one of these types of accidents at night with a vehicle that should have been better lit,
right,
was missing headlights or missing other types of safety lights, you need to call the injury helpline at 844-984-8414, request a free consultation. So headlights, lighting on the tractors, on all the equipment is necessary to prevent these types of injuries, and it could be a serious and willful if this equipment's not maintained.
The employer must have a meeting regarding security and safety for the employees at the beginning of the shift. Now, what goes on in this meeting? They talk about where the bathrooms are located. So if you need to use the bathroom, where they are, because maybe it's dark. You might not know where the bathrooms are located. If you don't have a clear path, a clear route, maybe it's not lit. That could be a dangerous situation right there, right? Just trying to go to the bathroom. And everybody has to go to the bathroom and have those bathroom breaks during their shift. So also about drinkable water. The water tables, they should have some water tables providing water to the employees, resting zones for when you need to take your breaks. What if you're taking a break under a tree because it's very comfortable, but it's not well lit, and now you have a vehicle that doesn't have the proper headlights? It's a recipe for disaster. Be aware of the areas where there's heavy traffic of these vehicles. So those are just some of the issues and topics that should be discussed at the beginning of every shift. Because as you know, Alex, a lot of these agricultural businesses don't have the same employees all the time. That could lead into a
good point.
Hey, are you getting paid cash or by check?
Right.
We just discussed that, so we'll go back to that. But there are a lot of issues come up. But these employees that are going to these meetings, it might be the first time they ever heard about where the bathrooms are, about where they can go take a rest, about what safety situations there are. Another thing that's very important that's in 3449 and that's section C is they must wear high visibility clothing. Okay.
Right.
So just like you see people that are on their bikes on the road bikes, and people that are on the street, maybe they're working at construction and they're working on the street. Even in construction zones, they wear high visibility clothing, orange clothing, reflective clothing. So they got to have that type of clothing if they're working at nighttime.
And if you're injured because of these things not existing, then you might have a serious and willful OSHA violation.
Right.
And also, like you pointed out, many times this might be the first time that you're showing up to work at this place, and they might be paying you cash. So you need to check out episode number 26 if you want to learn more about if you're an independent contractor receiving cash, or should you really be an employee covered by workers' compensation and all these other protections. So go ahead and check out episode number 26 if you have questions on that. Also, give the injury helpline a call if you need legal advice, because episode 26 is not legal advice. It's just giving you some education so that you can kind of start to understand, oh, I'm getting paid cash. Maybe there's a wage and hour violation going on there, and you're not covered by workers' comp. The employer is going to make it hard for you to get workers' comp insurance. So if you are being paid cash and you're working agriculture at night and you get injured, you need to call a lawyer right away, because it's likely that the employer is paying you cash. You're going to go try to report the injury, and they're going to say, well, there's nothing for you. Yeah.
The last thing I do want to add is, if you notice, if you're in a situation like this, or a family member is, or a friend, and you notice that reflective clothing is not being provided, there's no meetings, water isn't being provided, there's no set bathroom zones, and some of these things are just being violated, give a call to OSHA. They'll investigate.
Absolutely.
And if that employer gets a ding on their record because they weren't doing things right, A, it might push them to do things right from now on, and now people won't get hurt. Or B, when someone gets hurt, it's going to be a lot easier to bring forward a serious and willful. because they already have a ding on the record from OSHA, and it can be proven that this is a pattern, right? It's a pattern. It's not something that just happened one day and it's never going to happen again. It's going to be a lot easier for you or a loved one or just a person that got hurt to get the most compensation possible because the employer is not doing what they have to do.
Absolutely. You hear that, folks. If you notice any of these things, you need to call OSHA. You need to keep yourself and your fellow employees safe and protect your compensation rights in the future. If anybody gets hurt by that employer, you need to make sure that that was put on the record. I think that's all we have for episode number 27, the Inland Empire Workers' Compensation Lawyer Livestream Podcast. Thank you for viewing this episode. Remember to check out other episodes that we've done in the past on all different types of topics. Also remember that it's general in nature only. If you need legal advice, give the injury helpline a call, 844-984-8414.